Hi, our team name is 3, and I'm Josh 2.
I'm Lauren Graves.
And I'm William Tai.
And we're doing the video processing project, and we're here to demonstrate how the GUI works and explain our codes. So I'm going to first run the GUI to show you how it's displayed. So this is our GUI, and I'm going to now explain my part of the code. So I did the load button, so as you can see it's right here. So I used the GUI file function to get the GUI, and by doing the function video reader, I'm able to find the frame and the resolution, the duration of the video, and by changing those into the string format, I'm able to display them in the text. I also did the screenshot function, which I'll demonstrate right now. It's right here. So what I did is that using the handles.currentFrame, I can find the current frame of the image that's being displayed on the video, and then I save that to the variable image, and then by changing the name of the video, by doing the string connection, by putting the name together, and then I use I am right so that you can save the video or the frame that is being screenshotted, and at the same time we're showing the video of the frame that's being screenshotted at the side, which we will demonstrate at the end of the video. So now Lauren is going to talk about how she let the video being processed.
Okay, so I did the play, stop, skip, step forward, and step backward buttons. To do the play button, we first started with saying if the we initialized it up here in the opening function. We initialized stop in the opening function, set the handle to play, and set string to pause. We have current frame equals 1, so it begins at the beginning when it first opens. And then we start a while loop, which begins the frames moving along. As the frame goes, you read each frame and then add 1 to it. We have some of a special feature here, which I'll get to in a minute. But then at the bottom here, we show the frame, draw it, and end the while loop. If it's not starting from the beginning, meaning that the user hits play, it becomes pause, and the handles becomes current frame plus 1. And then if we have paused it using either the pause button or a different button, it goes to this if loop, and then the same while loop runs here. And so the stop button, if the stop button is hit, the current frame moves to 1, and then the label on the play button becomes play, and it reinitializes to the beginning of the if loop, and then it shows the first frame. For the step forward, this one reroutes it back to the second option so that it doesn't start from the beginning, it starts from the frame it was currently at, and but it shows the current frame plus 1 as you hit it. And then the step backward button does the same thing, where it shows the current frame but minus 1. And then for the red, green, and blue sliders, that is up under our while loops. So what I did is you take the frame, so you take the value from this slider that's red, it becomes a scalar, so you add 1 to it because the minimum value is 0, and so we want, if it's 1 it stays 0, it becomes 1 and stays the same. So each one we get a scalar, and then we multiply it by that value and the original frame, and then we show that color adjusted frame.
Hi, so I'm responsible for the slider and the RGB histogram. And first, we initiated the minimum value and maximum value of the slider in this load callback function. And then we also initiated the current frame. And then for function slider 1, we set the play button to pause and play when the slider was moved or clicked. And then we set the current frame to the slider value. And then we read the current frame, and then we displayed it on axis 1. And also we updated the histogram, RGB histogram here. So now I'm going to talk about the RGB histogram. So here I created a function for the RGB histogram. So first, we read the current frame, and then we set the blue, green, red frame to the corresponding numbers. And then we use the function, I used the function imHist to get the axes for the plot, and then I plot the red, green, and blue lines. Also, I limited the axis to the x-axis from 0 to 350 and the y-axis from 0 to 50,000. And I also specified the legend, and I added a title and also the X and Y label. So in order to update the histogram and the slider, we gotta put the function here after when play is hit, the play button is hit, and the pause button is pressed. Also, we need to update the histogram and the sliders when the stop button is pressed and forward button, and also the back button.
Alright, now we're going to show you how our GUI functions. So we're going to run it and load a video. So it comes up right here, and you can see down here the file name comes up, the duration, the frame rate, as well as the resolution. If we start it playing, up here you see the RGB histogram, which changes as the frame rate does. Our step forward buttons move it forward frame by frame. Step backwards moves it backwards frame by frame. Our scroll bar moves it as the frames. If you hit stop, it takes you back to the beginning and you can play it from there. You can also change the saturation levels of each color with these sliders over here. And then finally, you can take a screenshot, and it shows it right here, and it also saves it into the workspace on this side over here. Alright, and that's our GUI.